let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Here we go with sweet and saucy sausage sandwiches. The recipe calls for 2 4-ounce mild Italian sausages. Now these are a little bit smaller than 4 ounces, so I'm going to use 3 of them. And you just want to slice them into slices, bite-sized. And I've actually, these are just slightly frozen, which makes them a bit easier to cut. Put them into a saucepan. You put your sausages into a saucepan over medium heat. And to this you're going to add about a small handful of onion chopped. I'm using red onion. As well as about a good handful of green peppers or red peppers. I happen to have red pepper in the house, so that's what I'm using. And we're just going to stir this around and cook it until the sausages are no longer pink in the middle. Okay, so there are the sausages. They're no longer pink in the middle. The onion and the pepper is softened up a bit. And it says in the recipe to drain, but if you can see here, there really isn't much to drain at all in this. The sausages must have been relatively low fat compared to other ones, because there's really no need to drain. Now, to this we're going to add 1/4 cup of apricot jam or apricot preserves. I'm sure you could substitute orange marmalade or some other kind of fruit jam to this if you don't have the apricot. 1/3 of a cup of chili sauce. And 1/3 of a cup of ginger ale. If you don't have ginger ale or don't want to use it, I'm sure you could use some kind of fruit juice like apple juice. Would be just fine. And finally, 1 tablespoon of dried onion soup mix. So you're going to bring this back up to a boil and then turn the heat down to a very low simmer for about 30 minutes until the sauce is thickened up. Okay, the recipe calls for a French roll, French bread roll. What I did is I bought a baguette, a long French roll, and I just used a section of it and cut it in half. Split it in half this way. And then we're going to just put the sausage and pepper mix on top of the bread roll. And then we're just going to sprinkle on some cheddar cheese that's been shredded. And then you're just going to put this in the oven under the broiler for a couple of minutes until the cheese is melted. So this would serve 2 people for dinner with a salad, let's say, or 4 people, let's say, for lunch. The small section each for a small quick lunch. So there it is, just out of the oven with the cheese melted. If I didn't mention it in the video, I should say that this recipe comes from Taste of Home magazine in a magazine called Fast Fixes with Mixes. And I enjoyed this very much. I found it very tasty. However, I found it a little bit too much on the sweet side. If I were to make this again, what I would do is I think I would, instead of using the ginger ale, I would use water. And I would cut down on the apricot preserves and maybe bump up the chili a little bit. Otherwise, it's very tasty. It is a really nice kind of quick supper. And if you serve it with a side salad, you've got a complete meal. So there you go. Give it a try.